Hello, my name is Eric Putkonen. Thank you for joining me. Today I'll be talking about how to be present. It's been a while since I've done a video on this topic, and as it was requested in the comments, I thought, hey, let's do how to be present for a video. Anyways, before we get into some of the pointers on how to be present, let's go a little bit into what it is not. Being present is not a doing. If you are actively trying to be present, if you're trying to do things to be present, you're getting in your own way. You're going to find yourself stuck and unable to be present. Being present is not a doing. It is not something you need to do, and there's nothing you need to do in order to be present. To be present, it's a matter of ceasing to do. We need to stop doing in order to be present. Because the only thing that is keeping full awareness, 100% on the now, the feeling, experiencing of the now, the only thing getting in the way is thought. We are instead, enchanted, enamored, transfixed by thought, and we're focused on thought instead of what is right now. Thought inherently cannot be about now. Thought is always about the past, about the future, or total imagination and daydreaming. Thought can never touch the now. It can get to a second ago, a split second to come, in kind of a predictive, trying to estimate what will happen in a split second. And there's memories of what happened a split second ago. But thought can never touch the now. As thought is never about now, thinking itself pulls you from the present. Instead, you're in imagination, you're in the mind. And we've all seen, or maybe even experienced, a scenario where somebody bumps into somebody else because they simply didn't see the person, or they bump into a lamp pole or trip over their own feet. They're just simply not aware. They are so in their head, fixated on things in the head, that they've lost awareness of their surroundings. Thought is counter to being present. Not that you need to make thought an enemy or anything. It's just don't pay it any mind. Don't pay any attention or attachment to thought. Don't worry about it. I mean, there's going to be habitual thoughts that will continue to arise, and that's mostly due to habit. The habit is, in periods of silence, to think. And so, it's just a matter of retraining the brain into being more fixated on the feeling and experiencing of the moment rather than thinking about it, commenting on it, critiquing, judging, labeling, all this mental activity that we do regarding what had happened or what might happen. And so instead of being distracted by our imaginations, be it memories, future projections, daydreaming, whatever, the whole idea of being present is to be focused and attend to what is really now, what is now. And our only access to the now is the senses of the body. I mean, what you see is ever in the now. What you hear is ever in the now. When you hear it, you hear it. When you see it, you see it. It's in the now. I would like to say again, though, being present just means attending to the feeling, experiencing of the moment. And so when somebody says, how do I be present? I kind of focus on two things. One is ceasing to do, and that doing is thinking. Cease attending to thought, entertaining thought, doing all that. The other aspect is to really get with the feeling experiencing of the body. In Zen meditation, they'll focus on breath. And it's not a mental focus. I know early in my spiritual search, somebody said, "Well, hey, be aware of your breath. Focus on your breath." And that led me down a dead end because I was mentally focusing on my breath. It's like, that's an inhale, that's an exhale, and I'm mentally trying to keep track of the breath. That isn't what was meant when they say, be aware of your breath, focus on breath. What they mean is, feel it as you inhale. Do you feel the air passing the upper lip into the nostrils? Do you feel it going past the nostrils down and into the body? Do you feel the chest expand? There's a lot you can feel when you're being fully aware of breathing itself. Is the breathing shallow? Is it deep? Is it constant? Is it ragged? Does it have steps? Now in meditation, we're usually, sometimes, not usually, but I'd say sometimes we're trying to control the breath because we're trying to make long, deep breaths that are constant. Not kind of a, it's kind of a, just a flowing breath that's constant. And, but there's different ways we breathe. Now related to the breath is tension. Is there any tension about the rib cage or the sides or, in the back or the chest that might be constricting the breath, the ability to inhale? Maybe your clothing is slightly restrictive about the waist, and so the belly can't go out when the air comes in for deep, breathing. There's all this stuff we can be aware of just about breath. There is feeling the weight of the body on the chair, or if you're standing on your feet. There's your alignment. Are you leaning back? Are you leaning forward? Are you actually upright? Because again, in meditation, a lot of times it comes down to trying to relax. And so as you're being fully aware and present, you're becoming aware of your alignment, because if you are leaning in some way, as you relax, you'll crumple. Or if you're leaning back, you'll fall back. If you're balanced perfectly upright, it needs very little muscle to keep you in that position. And so are you aware of it? How much muscle are you using? How much bodily tensions are being used to maintain your posture? And could it be less? Could you relax more and let more of it go? Now I'm kind of combining both being present and meditating because they are kind of related at times. But we'll focus on being present more in a moment. But you have posture, you've got breathing, you've got the weight, you've got any tightness of the body. Also, if your eyes are open, what do you see? You can't close your ears, so what do you hear? What do you taste? What do you smell? What do you feel? And these are all various inputs. Now there's also something even more subtle that you can feel. And so let's do a quick exercise or a quick experiment per se. So if you close your eyes, now assuming you're in a environment with no fans, or you're not under a vent, or the AC is not running. Basically, the air is still, the air is not moving. But if you have both eyes closed and your hands on your knees, and so you feel the hands on the knees, and when the eyes are closed and you let's say you raise your right hand about a foot off the knee, and then ask yourself, how do I know my hand is still there? Now initially, the mind may come back and say, well, I don't know. Because if there's not a lot of feedback, if there's no wind going over the hand, if the hand itself isn't moving or contracting in some way, if there is no obvious stimulus, the brain, the mind comes back with, well, I don't know if the hand is still there. And so if your eyes are closed and your hand is raised above your knee and the hand's not moving, and you ask yourself, how do I know my hand is still there? The mind or a thought may arise, well, I don't know. Try to ignore that thought. Just try to feel more deeply. Be openly receptive to all the sensations that you can feel. And as you feel, you may feel, could be a tingle. It could be heat and coolness moving around. It could be almost an electric feel. It could be, almost kind of an energy you can feel. But there is so much more you can feel. If you go deeper than the initial, obvious, easy feeling of, wind going over the hand, it's like, oh, I can feel that. If you're missing those, you don't want to fall into the trap of, well, there's nothing to feel. Well, there's always more to be aware of and experience if you delve more deeply. And so ignore the initial reflex thought of, well, I don't know if my hand's still there, and just see if you can feel. And there's so much more you can feel. I mean, at some point you'll notice, I can very much tell my hand is there. And then you can put your hand back on your knee. And, but in a form of meditation, you could try to, it's almost like feeling the inner body, but you could try to feel the inner body of the hand, the inner energy, inner body. Feel the one hand, feel both hands, then try to feel both feet, then try to feel both arms, and working your way up legs, shoulders, waist, abdomen. Eventually you try to feel the inner body, the inner energy of the entire body. And then there's also things like when you're very, very still and you're fully aware and openly receptive to what you can feel, you may notice, I can feel my own heartbeat. You may feel it in the side of the neck or in the armpit. You could hear it in the ear. You could feel it in your chest. You can feel your own pulse. And there's other little inner movements and circulations and fluid movements and different things going on in the body. And you can just be openly receptive and trying to feel as much as you can possibly feel. Now, I caution though, while it is great to get very, very grounded in the body, kinesthetic feeling, don't get overly fixated on the inner body. Keep some attention on the senses. What do you hear? What do you smell? What do you feel around you? Do you hear a bird chirp? Do you hear pets in the background? Do you hear the wind? Do you feel the air circulating? So it's trying to keep fully aware of what's going on within and around you. And in this way, you can go deeper and deeper and deeper into experiencing. As you go deeper and deeper into experiencing, the mind tends to slow and stop because there's nothing for the mind to do. Again, thought only refers to past, future, or imagination. If you don't care about the past or the future or imagination during your practice of being present or meditating, and so you're fully aware and attending to the present moment, feeling, experiencing, there's no room for thought. What is there to think about? There's so much to be aware of. And even for things that you think you know, try to let go of what you know, almost adopt a beginner's mind, and look at things anew and go deeper and deeper into the feeling. Because even if you've done the exercise of feeling the inner body or the inner energy before, if you do it again, it may feel different. You may notice something else, something different, something new in addition, or it could be something more subtle and underneath, or, I mean, there's all these different things that you can feel if you're just openly receptive. And that's what being present is all about, is just being openly receptive, fully experiencing the now, and paying no attention to thought, not entertaining thought, not labeling, not critiquing, not judging, commenting, not doing any of that. Just like, anything the mind can comment on, let it go. Just return to what can be felt, what can be sensed. And in that way, the kinesthetic feeling of the body becomes the anchor for abiding in the present moment and just being present. As long as you're fully aware and feeling, you are present. Now, I've said sometimes that in the absence of thought, there is only the present. And that really is the key. As soon as we cease thinking, the present is all there is. You're automatically present. We are ever in the present. Physically, we can't be anywhere else. Mentally, we can project elsewhere, elsewhen, by pulling awareness from the present and instead focusing and looking at the projections. And so when you're being present, what you're doing is you're letting go of all projections and no longer entertaining thought and the mind and going, for this period of time of being present, I am just going to be fully fixated on what do I feel, what do I sense, what do I smell, see, hear, smell. Not that you have to fixate on anything. You're not, the openly receptive awareness, it will move around. It's not like you're always aware of the pulse, but you'll be aware of the pulse, and then something else might come into attention, and then the pulse might come back. It doesn't matter as long as you're not critiquing, labeling, thinking about, pondering, or otherwise mentating about what's going on, not trying to manipulate it, not identifying with it. Just let all that crap go. Just focus on the feeling, sensations of it. And that's how you be present. You be present by experiencing and being fully aware, here and now. You be present by not trying to be anywhere else or anyone else, by not getting lost in thought and imaginations and projections and constructs, which pulls attention away from what you feel right now. Instead, you're just fully with what is right now. But anyways, if you have any questions, please post below. Any comments as well, you can post below. I know that the channel is kind of evolving here in terms of I'm thinking about starting up memberships. Also, I'm thinking about starting online satsangs. So stay tuned on that. Look at the community tab for that information. Also other videos that I might point this out to. Anyways, but until next time, thank you much.